Hey there, and welcome to EQTV. I am Erin. I'm a certified emotional intelligence coach, and I create content to help you become the expert of you so you can live better, love better, and be better. Today, I want to talk about a post that I saw on Instagram. It was talking about men were sharing why they do not open up to women or explain how they feel to them. So, a woman tweeted, "Why do men shut their partners out when they're going through stuff? It's unfair." Most of the men that responded to this tweet got on this woman for the last two words of the tweet. It's unfair. Celine King said, "The fact that this tweet ends with 'it's unfair' means you feel it's something he's doing to you, but it's not about you. Women need to separate themselves from the situation if you're going to be helpful at all." Dumbledore said, first paragraph, "The man has the problem. He's going through stuff." Second line, "She made it about herself. It's unfair to you, right? And that's why men don't." And Abdul said, "Because y'all don't tend to understand most times and just make it seem about you." Well, I'm going to actually tell you how it can be about the woman. I'll tell you that in a second. But first, I want to address some of these other responses. Fella in Versace said, "Because at some point, you'll use it against him, whether intentional or not." Snazzy said, "Because the second I share my deepest fears with you is the second that the mental image you have of me, one of surety, poise, and strength, takes a hit. Then my weakness can be aired in a future disagreement or even used as a cudgel to shock me into submission." The Young Podcast said, "Because a lot of young women have made it abundantly clear that suffering or financial weakness is not acceptable in a partner." Simon Peeler said, "Because you know it, before you know it, you become social media content when the relationship is over." And Ball said, "Men open up at the initial stages of the relationship. They get shot down and she turns the conversation about her. Women vent while men talk to find solutions to a problem. When a woman responds to his expressed issues as venting, he'll never open up to you again." Now, ladies, these men are saying that they don't open up because they don't feel like it's safe to. And these responses make me sad because that's unfortunate. Right? There are several things wrong with this current dating climate. But one of the things that bother me the most is this toxic ideology of a man, right? This idea that a man doesn't have feelings, or if he's, shows any expression of emotion, that he's weak. And let me tell you, if you believe this, you're trash, because men are human. Men have feelings, right? Men get frustrated. Men get tired of carrying the expectations that are placed on him, right? And it is important that a man's needs are acknowledged and met in a relationship. And I'm talking about beyond just the physical. Right? A healthy relationship is one where both partners' needs are met. Right? I've had conversations with men, and they've told me that they feel like their only purpose in a relationship is to provide financially and physically. And that's terrible. I will tell you guys, just like I tell my male friends and all the men, that I've had this conversation with, right? That's not okay. Right? You're not there or you shouldn't be just there for financial support or for sex, right? Your needs should also be met, right? Your emotions also need to be acknowledged and validated, right? Right? What you want and need, it also matters. Right? And if you are with a woman that doesn't understand that, I don't know that is the person for you, because that won't lead to a healthy relationship, right? If that's the case, then you're in a one-sided relationship. And it's like, what's the point at that? What's the point? Right? Relationships are optional. And so you have to make sure, even as a man, that is worth it for you. Ladies, part of being a safe space is empathy and being empathetic. Empathy is the third component of emotional intelligence. Empathy is taking the time to step into the shoes of your partner and to understand the situation from their perspective. I'm not going to say that you have to agree, but you have to take the time to understand, what it is, how they feel, and what they are looking at from their standpoint. So this means that you cannot expect your partner to communicate or handle conflict the way that you would, or in the same timely manner that you would. You have to take time to understand him. How did he grow up? Was he allowed to, communicate how he felt when he grew up, as he was growing up, right? Or was he always told big boys don't cry? Has he ever been asked, how was your day, by someone who genuinely meant it? Right? Did he grow up in an environment where his feelings were even validated, or, he was allowed to communicate those things, right? All of those things have, long-term effects, and affects how he communicates or he doesn't communicate now. I'm going to do a whole series on effective communication, but for now, I just want to say, take the time to see things from, his perspective, learn how he communicates, and of course, this goes both ways. I'm just, using man to woman because of the post that we saw. But take the time to understand how he communicates and expresses himself. Like Abdul also said, because I need space to myself doesn't mean I don't love a lady or don't have affection. Sometimes that moment of solitude is just needed to garner enough inspiration or get ideas for stuff. All right. So no, it's not always about you, ladies, but you have to make sure that you are taking the time to understand your partner and understand how they communicate. I agree with St. Gabriel Dunsworth when he said this is a broad generalization because it highly depends on the woman's critical thinking and objectivity. Men will generally open up when there's a security of knowledgeable feedback and contributions instead of rejection and humiliation. There are supportive women helping out there too. And I agree with that. However, I know some supportive women who still have the problem of, their guy not opening up to them. And so when you are a supportive woman and a guy does not open up to you, this is when I can understand how a woman can make it about her to some extent, right? And I actually recently had this conversation with a woman who I absolutely consider to be a supportive woman. She has been talking to this guy for almost a year, and she's had this same exact issue, right? She is bothered by the fact that he doesn't open up to her. So just know, anytime you come to me for help with processing a situation, the first thing that I'm going to do is really get to the root of why you are bothered. So I can always guarantee that the first question that I'm going to ask you is going to be some degree of, what about that bothers you, right? And so I asked her, what about him not opening up? What about it bothers you? And so it took some digging, but when we got to the bottom of it, him not opening up to her made her feel like he didn't trust her. Right? Which makes sense. If I know that I am a safe space and you know that I am a safe space and you still choose to not open up, you can see how that can make, me as a woman feel like you don't trust me enough to open up. And so we kept digging, and I asked her, well, what difference would it make if he did open up? And she said, if he opened up, obviously she would feel like he trusts her. But in turn, to her, that meant that him trusting her enough to open up would make her feel like, he is willing to stick around for the long term. So for her, opening up is about security. And so when he doesn't open up, she doesn't feel as secure. She doesn't know if it's safe for her to open up, right? And that makes sense. Think about, let's take this to a platonic friendship for a second. If you have a friend that you always confide in, But they never tell you when anything is going on in their life. Not that they have to, but at some point, you're going to wonder, like, well, Dad, I'm always open and honest with you, but I don't get that same type of energy. I don't care what you say. At some point, you are going to wonder why this person, never opens up to you. Do they not trust you? Are they being sneaky? Or, there's going to be some type of thought that crosses your mind, trying to figure out, why, again, they don't trust you enough to open up. And so when you find yourself in a friendship like that, the dynamics of the friendship is probably going to change, right? At some point, you are probably going to stop opening up to them as much. But you can't do that in a romantic relationship. Well, you could, but, a relationship where emotional support is not provided is not necessarily a healthy relationship. So what do you do in a situation where, when this happens? Let's go through all of the components of emotional intelligence to work through this. So starting with self-awareness. So her self-awareness is that she doesn't like when he doesn't open up. His self-awareness is he's not comfortable with sharing how he feels. Self-management. So this is having the ability to control your impulsive feelings and your behavior. So she doesn't like when he doesn't open up, but she's going to control her urge to, run to social media or, snap out on him about it. And he may, have to control his urge to shut down even more. Whatever their natural instincts or natural reaction is, self-management is the ability to control those and go to the third component of emotional intelligence, which is empathy. So to not react on your initial reaction, but to take time to understand and empathize from the other person's perspective. So she knows that she doesn't like when he opens up. She's going to control her initial impulse, but she's going to take time to understand that he's not comfortable opening up because he's never had the ability to communicate or express himself as a child, right? And now he has to also understand that she doesn't like when he doesn't open up because it makes her feel less secure in the relationship, like this is going to be temporary and like he's not going to be around for a long time. So now comes down to the fourth component of relationship management. What is it that you do about it from here? Is there anything that he can do to make you feel more secure without opening up? Or is there anything that she can do to make you feel more comfortable about opening up? All right, this is when you have to use all of your skills of emotional intelligence. You know what the issue is. You took the time to understand why. Now it's time to use all of these skills and come up with come up with a resolution to this conflict, right? She wants you to share so she could feel more secure. You don't feel comfortable sharing because you've never had to, right? And so emotional intelligence is about coming up with that middle ground that works for you and your partner, right? And so I can't tell you what it is. Nobody else can tell you what that middle ground is or what that compromise should be. That's something that you and your partner have to work through. But that is the best way to avoid conflict. I'm going to do a whole series on effective communication, but this is a perfect example of how you use your emotional intelligence to avoid an issue in your relationship. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Let me know if you have had an issue with your partner not opening up to you and what you guys have done about it. Let me know or leave some suggestions about solutions in the comments below. Help somebody else out that may be dealing with this issue. Share what you guys discussed or the compromise that you came up with so other people can also learn and grow in their relationship so that they can, make their relationship healthier. If you found this helpful, please share this with a friend. Make sure that you both are subscribed to my channel and that your notifications are on so that you do not miss out on other great content.